What's going down, everybody? My name is Jack. If you're new to the channel, I upload daily content based around video editing, videography, and how to make money making videos. Subscribe now if that sounds interesting to you. Today we're taking a look at the Feiyu G6 gimbal, 3-axis gimbal. We're going to be taking a look through it and doing a review, basically. I took this gimbal to Scotland. I had a family trip to Scotland with my little brother, my older brother, and my dad. We went to Edinburgh. We went up to the Highlands, linked up with my uncle who's staying up there for some work-related stuff, and had a blast. I brought the G6 up there to document my entire trip, and thank you to FeiyuTech for getting that sent out in time. I remember I was talking to them a couple weeks before I was going, and I was trying to make sure that it was going to be here for my Scotland trip. Indeed, they made sure it was. Thank you, FeiyuTech. And it arrived. So my first impressions with shooting for over a week, every day pretty much I was shooting on this for the entire week in Scotland. My first impressions is that it holds up great. It's super comfortable to use with the actual kind of padded grip and everything like that. And overall, it's lightweight and portable. That's probably the most crucial thing for my travels, is I needed something portable. I needed something that was going to be lightweight. It was like a 10-hour or a 9-hour train ride up there to Scotland, and then a whole bunch of driving around and stuff. So there's a lot of traveling basically going down. Definitely, this is ideal for traveling. And also, it's just nicely sized. Like, I can't even lie. I went out and I shot with my homie Noah, and we compared it to his DJI Ronin S, big gimbal. Obviously, this is a fraction of the size, a fraction of the weight. The weight is the biggest difference between these two. And obviously, they're built for different cameras. This right here is really only built for mirrorless, smaller cameras. And at the end of the day, if you're doing anything bigger, it's going to run into some problems. But for lightweight mirrorless cameras, which is exactly what the Sony a6300 is, this is an amazing gimbal. We're going to be reviewing it. So first off, let's start with the price. If you're in the UK, you're spending about £200 on this. If you're in America, you're spending about $250. If you're anywhere else, you could probably do the math in your head. It's going to probably be around $200, $250. What's in the box? It's going to come in this pretty cool box right here. Nice white box, very cleanly presented. And when you actually open it up on the inside, do I have the protective case in here? No, I don't. I guess the protective case is around here. But on screen right now, you can see the protective case. It's going to come with a cool protective case. And actually, this is a really nice way to carry it around. It is a nicely protected mold. You put it into the mold. The only downside of this case is the fact that once you've calibrated it, which we'll talk about in a second, right? Because obviously you have to change the axis of it all. It doesn't come fully calibrated, obviously, because it's made for different cameras. Once you actually calibrate it, at least for my camera, putting it back into the mold, it doesn't fit unless you uncalibrate it, which is not the most practical thing in the world, because ideally you want to keep your gimbal calibrated, the same the whole time. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a small thing. But since we're talking about calibration, let's do it. How do you calibrate it? Really easily. Calibration is relatively simple. Just attach your camera to the quick release plate, right? So actually remove the quick release plate first, screw on your camera, and then slot it in, right? There should be a lock so that you know that you've put it in all the way. And then what you want to do is just adjust the axis. What you do by the axis is you can actually unscrew them, which I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm sure I'm showing B-roll. You can unscrew them, and then you slide the slider over a little bit. You then, see if it's balanced. And what you want to do before you actually even power on is have the gimbal pretty balanced. So you see how this right here is leaning a bit forward, because that's just how it is. Once it turns on, it locks into place, but it's leaning a tiny bit forward. But overall, this is in the middle. I could bounce it around, and it's going to still come back to the middle. So you want to balance it right away, right? And also, before you power on, you want to make sure that you've charged it all the way. So you simply plug in the micro USB or the universal charger, whatever you call it, into the side. Obviously, then plug it into the power socket and more or less just charge it up all the way. You'll be able to tell by pressing the on button, just by tapping it instead of holding it, and it'll show the power bar. It'll show, 4 bars. Once 4 bars is done, power it up, right? And to power it up, it's super simple. Once you've calibrated the whole thing and once you've charged it up all the way, you'll know by looking on the thing. You just stand it up like this. And the weird thing about it is it actually doesn't come with a stand. This is my stand. It's a custom stand that, just is a mini tripod basically. So that's a downside, definitely. FeiyuTech, even the DJI products, they come with a little stand. But alternatively, if you don't have, if you got a stand it up like this. If not, just hold it as straight as possible and then power it on. And what will happen is it will lock into place. If I power this on right now, boom, it locks into place, it turns around, and now just like that, we have a gimbal that we can pick up and start shooting with. And indeed we can. So I'm actually going to bring it back, put it back down there. Obviously just for show I've done that. And just like that, you're ready to go. So how is the footage holding up? It's holding up great. Let's show some examples on screen right now from my trip to Scotland. Honestly, we did a bunch of different environments, messing around at the hotel, which I think I actually deleted all that footage. Dummy. I don't know why I did, because I was doing some great quality tests of running up and down the hotel, you know, corridor and shit to test the stability, which, you know, maybe I'll do another one of those tests here in the office, actually, running up and down the office. But it holds up really good. I shot in the forest. I shot out in the plains. I shot in the car. Shot everywhere. Shot basically everywhere. And overall, it holds up great. Shooting, super lightweight. And like I said, I was using this right here. So what I would do is I would obviously bring this down, and then I had a whole nother point of contact here. So I'm not too sure how shooting with one hand holds up, which I assume if you didn't have this, you would probably just be shooting with one hand and maybe like an assist or something like that. But with the added stand, which is something I would probably suggest you to get, which they're cheap, these things. I'll leave one link down below in the description, along with the product link for the FeiyuTech G6. But these things are they're pretty good. You know what I mean? As in a stand. Now the app. The app is the next thing that is kind of incorporated into this, right? And unfortunately, my camera wouldn't quite connect to the app. Now, the app connects perfectly to the gimbal. All you have to do is download the Feiyu On app, and, you know, it's available free download off the App Store. And then you simply just connect to your gimbal. The way you connect is you hold down the connection button on the side. You know, you kind of tap it, give it a tap, let the phone know that you're trying to find it. Obviously, you need to turn on the Bluetooth on your phone as well. And you can connect to the phone, and then you can use this as like a robot, basically. You can actually control it from your phone. I'm sure I'm going to show you guys some footage of me manipulating the gimbal off of my phone. And honestly, the app, it was pretty glitchy for me at first, but I actually just didn't really understand what to do. Where obviously a little bit of trial and error, I figured out what to do. There you go. I'm a dummy, obviously. I just had to play with it for a little bit. However, the only thing that I still haven't figured out is, unfortunately, I couldn't get the Wi-Fi connection to connect from my camera to the actual app. Hopefully, you have a little bit of better experience with it, but overall, I didn't get a chance to. Now, the app enables you to do a whole bunch of cool features. You can actually set face track, object track, stuff like that, time-lapse mode, stuff like that, which unfortunately I didn't get much experience with those modes. I'm going to test them out going forward, but those are options, so make sure you're aware of that, and it's all available through the app. Now, also, the record button, something I couldn't quite utilize because of the fact that I couldn't connect the camera to the gimbal, right? But, you know, a little bit of trial and error, no doubt, I probably could have done it. I'm just a lazy guy, I'll be real. Like, let's be real. I'm lazy. I mess with something for a good 10, 15 minutes, and if it's not working, I'm probably walking away and I'm doing something else. You know, it's just the reality of me. That's bad, by the way, you know what I mean? Figure it out. Figure out how to make it happen, and I'm sure you guys are going to have better luck with it than I am. And it works awesome shooting with a small kit lens. Let's address this quick, right? It works phenomenal shooting with a small kit lens. If you guys are shooting on action cameras or something, this is ideal. However, obviously, because there's a weight limit to this, any bigger cameras or any bigger lenses even, you're going to need a more powerful gimbal. For example, you know, like I've got this fat-ass 10mm lens. You throw this on there, it's not supporting it. You know, it's just basically not, it'll be tilting down because obviously this is more or less like adding a whole nother one of these cameras on there. A lens like this, as big as this, is more or less the same weight as that camera. Damn near, you know what I mean? Slightly exaggeration, but I mean, kind of not, to be honest, right? But overall, it cannot handle something bigger like this, but if you expected that, it's no worries. I kind of expected that, you know what I mean? Like, it would have been more crazy if a big-ass lens like this did work on it than if it didn't, right? Just because it's so nice, lightweight, nice, and portable. And overall, it's awesome. Hands down is great, and well, to be honest, let me start repeating myself. Let me just be real. You could tell I've had a blast with this thing by the amount of times I've called it great. Final thoughts, awesome gimbal. Pretty solid price, like for $200. Really not that much. At the end of the day, I know you can get the what are they called? Zuyang, but whatever. How am I drawing a blank on this? You know what I mean? Zion crane? Yeah, that's the one. They call the Zion. Okay, the Zions. Yeah, you can get like the Zions for, a relatively similar price, but a little bit more, maybe like $350, $400, something like that. And those will be able to handle bigger lenses and whatever. So the only thing I would say in terms of a keep in mind or a watch out for type of situation here is just watch out that your camera is lightweight enough to be supported on this. And also if your lens plus your camera is lightweight enough, because the Sony with the kit lens, Sony a6300 with the kit lens, works perfect, works a charm. is amazing. Like, this setup is literally my go-to run and gun lightweight setup. No two ways around it. However, if you're throwing anything else on something like this, it can get a little bit intense. Also, it's got a whole bunch of cool features with this sort of little roll button here. What you can do is you can actually assign this to a couple different things just to finalize this review. And you could assign this to different axes of the gimbal, right? So you see, we're actually using the pan control right now. So all we have to do is scroll this little wheel, and it'll control that axis. We can then press it in again, and we have the roll axis, which means the roll can be controlled. This is a kind of quicker way to do it. Obviously, if you're doing everything by the little button, it's much slower. But if you do like this, it's much quicker. And then also you can do the tilt control, stuff like that, right? Which this was super useful when I was in Scotland. Because, for example, I'd be hanging out the window of the car, right? We rented this Defender, Range Rover Defender or whatever, right? And we're cruising, and I'm trying to get shots of, you know, sometimes I'm trying to get like the wildlife going past, and then all of a sudden I want to get like a dope, you know, mountain range or something, and just pressing the button to take it up is super slow. Look at that shit, right? But literally just doing this or that, I was doing it all the time just to quickly get your shot, and then that's where you're starting from. Honestly, that was a super useful feature, something that I utilized loads in Scotland. But that right there is the end of the review. The FeiyuTech G6 gimbal, awesome lightweight gimbal. I'm going to leave the product link down below. If you're thinking of purchasing this and want to support me at no extra cost to yourself, buying it through my affiliate link throws a little bit of money to me, especially on a higher ticket product like this. Kind of higher ticket, right? I get 3 to 10%, so if you buy it, I might even get like 20 quid or something like that. If it's on the 10% side, if it's on the 3% side, I don't know math, far less than 20 quid most likely. Either way, we're not doing it for the money. Just a cool way for you to support me if you want to. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Jack. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in an upcoming video. Later.